Okay, first video in a while. I wanted to touch upon some concerns that keep coming up, and I want to address them publicly so that if you are thinking this way, hopefully this troubleshoots it. People have reached out or have inquired through other avenues or even became a patient of some kind, whether it's Zoom or in person. And they said, I didn't realize that what you do was for rehab as well. I thought it was just to get stronger and increase the performance of your body after you heal. That's how it's kind of phrased. And then they're like, but the way it looks, this is an approach that you can do even when you're experiencing injury, especially when you experience injury. And here's something I want to clear up. And it's not your fault per se. It's your fault if you continue to believe this. But out there is this world that has you thinking that literally health is a huge ass building, and each of these separate rooms. And I did a satirical video that was like 20 minutes long. I should resurface that thing because it was brilliant. And it had me going into each different room to seek out help and advice and guidance in these different systems. This is for the emotional room. This was the spiritual room. This was the stretching room. This was the hydration room. And then down there was the energy room. And then there was the massage room. And then there was a chiropractic. It was like, literally, we literally have been sold because everyone needs a job in health, because we've devolved to a record level of low I've ever seen in 20 plus years of practice. Yet somehow we glorify ourselves that we're doing well, and we're not. But there's jobs out there, and everyone's got a little niche, and you have to create this niche to sell you shit. And it's literally gotten you think that like you're looking at this huge building, this mecca of health, and you have to visit every single room. I would be overwhelmed too. I would be so overwhelmed that I would be thinking that healing is complicated, that healing is, you have to have a degree, or you have to read these books for it. You have to know this terminology, and it just isn't that way. So they have you thinking that one, there's training, how I talk about it, when you're completely healthy and totally fine. Then if you get injured, you got to go to this special room and you got to do rehab. And then when you're done with that, you got to go to this other room and you got to do occupational rehab. And then you finally dip back into this other performance room, but you got to slowly come back and then work your way through. And then if you want elite performance, you go even to another room. And then if you want recovery from all this, you go to this other special room. And it couldn't be further from just how the body works. When you experience damage, or when you experience injury to a specific tissue, does it matter what the tissue is? No, that's why medical imaging is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter whether it's a ligament or a meniscus or cartilage or a labrum or muscle or bone or disc or nerve. It doesn't matter. Damage to the tissue means that your body cannot absorb the force of the environment, emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual, mental, chemical, all the other forces coming in. You're not able to manage it and facilitate it into healthful shifting and moving around and surviving. You should be unaware of the environment, but all of a sudden your body's going to tell you that you have damage, and there's going to be swelling, inflammation, pain. What that means is your body is just saying, yo, we're not ready for the environment you put us in, emotionally, mentally, intellectually, spiritually, and physically. I just want to get your attention, and the level of pain is appropriate to the level of work that you have to do and the level of healing. I'm just trying to get your attention. Training and rehab is putting your body in a position to teach it how to absorb force appropriately through movement and action at all joints. It doesn't matter how bad your ankle is, or how bad your knee is, or how bad your previous surgical history is, or whatever it is, or how good you think you are. It doesn't matter where you're at. Training, is movement, is rehab. It's all in one big stream. Who you are when you step into the stream is who you are when you step into the stream. That's why your programs or your plans per se, your scrolls, need to be something that no matter who you are, when you enter it, there is a version of you that you're going to find within the plan. And when you experience damage, you do more than you ever have to the affected joint so that it can be in a position to finish healing. That's why it was swelling and inflamed and painful. And then because it's so performing at such a high level, you're going to have to go to all the other joints and level those up. So the thing of it is, with this whole fear of, TJ, I didn't want to start with you because I thought I had to heal my knee first. No, the plans or the approach or training is done no matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, how you go about it, why you're doing it, where you're located, how much money's in your bank account, what your stomach is full of, how old you are, who you're hanging out with, what relationship you have, whether you have kids or not. It doesn't matter. It's all day, every day, constantly, consistently, sustainably, repeatably done in a manner that's greater than any trauma you've ever experienced that created the damage in the first place. I know I make fun of trauma because these trauma-informed coaches are an absolute joke. But to stimulate through injury, soft tissue injury, and heal, we need to exceed the level of what that input was. We don't need to know necessarily exactly what happened, nor do we have to talk about it anymore or focus on it. Jesus. But what we have to do is push the system emotionally, intellectually, mentally, spiritually, physically, chemically, everything beyond anything it's ever experienced before. Otherwise, it will continue to guard you and hold you back to protect, thinking you're not ready for the next environment because it wants to stay here. It wants to evolve and adapt and thrive here now. So it doesn't matter. Let's just say, and I've got people all the time who have plans for me or who have worked with me in the past. And they'll tell me, they'll reach out and be like, hey, I recently rolled my ankle. I know I showed up to you because I just wanted to get stronger and be able to survive falls and increase my life ability, increase the amount of expression of my life emotionally and physically. Sure. And then they find out they rolled an ankle. And then they didn't have to go get another plan. They went ahead and dumped themselves into the plan that they had, and the plan meets them whether they have a rolled ankle. In fact, it targets what happens when you roll an ankle. Now you have a limping pattern. Now you have swelling and pain. Now you have a pattern that's going to protect that ankle as much as possible, up through the knee, through the hip, through the spine, through the other leg. So you have to rewrite that entire sequence. And you're going to have to, when the body heals the tissue level to a level great enough, push that within the plan they had greater than what that injury was. And now here's the thing, because of that ankle, they now are able to rehab, quote unquote, train the entire body. The entire body improved its performance because of the rolled ankle. That just blows me away and gets me so excited that we almost welcome injuries. They're opportunities. But this, I can't start training until I rehab my body, makes no sense. Then what you're doing in training isn't training. That's why I always say, if you're in a current training model or you're training with people or a trainer or a therapist or a functional blah, 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 or blippity, whatever, and you experience injury and damage and you have to leave that model to go heal your injury, then it's not training in the first place. Vladi, John, and I, back in the day when we were learning and experimenting on each other and doing these things, we'd get injured all the time because we were attempting all this crazy shit. But when we got injured, we were like some of the only professionals in performance rehab and training that didn't leave our building to go heal. We stayed within and went back to some of the more simple rudimentary moves, increased it with effort. I keep hearing this. It's time to simplify. And then they attach do less in your life. I love the simplification back to fundamentals. I love that everyone's starting to do that. But this do less? We simplify so we can sustain doing more. It's never less. It might be less items on your day to day, but as far as movement is concerned and injury is concerned and healing is concerned, it's not less per se of less demand on you and more comfort and more ease. You earn comfort and ease by making yourself, simplifying one to the fundamentals and making yourself very, very, very uncomfortable. Because the body only knows how to grow through challenge and resistance. And so again, back to the Vladi, John, and myself, we would literally get all these soft tissue experts, all these chiropractors, yoga, Pilates people, soft tissues, ART, MAT, laser specialists, all these people coming in with chronic injuries they couldn't fix, doing their own stuff. And then they come into us and we go back to the basics and absolutely in a savage way allow them to explore the greatest amount of intention they ever had. And they could repeat it. They could do it at home, had to do it at home multiple times a day and seek us out for progressions. But that was an alarming waking up for me where I'm looking and I'm like, look at all these professionals coming in. What are they doing? Well, what are we? Oh, wow, this is interesting. So there is a way to train in rehab. And it's only gotten worse because this was like early 2000s. And you can imagine we're in 2022 and are by far have the most health professions available. And we're the least healthy and functional and evolved I've ever seen us. So in short, for those of you on the fence, hey, I don't want to reach out to you because I want to heal first. Nope. The plans are infinite. It's one and done. You come in, you'll even see. That's what I thought was so cool back in the day when we were doing things. There'd be in the same room a professional athlete, a person with MS, 80-year-old with MS, and then a 12-year-old, all in the same room, all doing very similar concepts, but internalizing and their perception of that and their intentions were completely different. But the results were the same. They were in the stream of training, all doing the same stuff. How is an MS person doing what a professional football player and what a 12-year-old's doing? They're human beings and they need to move and own their joints. The number of times they are years old, if they're structurally damaged or functionally damaged and need to repair, they got to do even more. To grow and sheath around nerve and nourish it, it has to be stimulated a lot for an NFL football player to prepare themselves for the environment that they're going to be exposed to, whether they're injured or not. They're going to have to exceed what an NFL game is going to demand. Damn, for that 12-year-old to coordinate creatively and get everything as they're going through their growth spurt. Damn, that's movement. That's rehab. That is training. So I don't want to start training until I heal from my injury. We got to rewrite that entire thing. Anybody telling you that you have to go to a special place to heal and then go to another special place to do this and then another special place to recover and then another special place for body work and then another special place, they don't know what they're doing and they're selling you a lie. Training is movement. Movement is rehab. Rehab is training, and all together. And there's something that can be done every single day, even if you're bedridden. How do you think Pilates started? Joseph Pilates was an absolute savage. Now we have people laying on the ground doing hospital bed training, calling it elongating or some other shit. Oh, I want to touch upon something. I was hauling beach rocks today, back from the beach, because I've created something birthed out of these Zoom rehab and performance sessions that I'm doing in my office. And it was an idea. It was polished by Dr. Cassie Huckabee, and it was manifested through the artistic expression of Will Hudgens and Hudgens Wood Company. We are putting together something. There's a prototype in my office, something to make, to elevate and ramp up stand-up desks to a new level. So stay tuned for what we're releasing, because I'm going to test them out this week. I'm stoked. Anyway, all right. See you soon.